Let's talk to Connie Shaw, who's with the Free Speech Union. Connie, very good morning to you. Welcome. So much weird stuff going on at the moment in politics, but we're going to talk about Shabana Mahmood, who came out yesterday and actually said, when she was asked if she thought that Keir Starmer was Nigel Farage was a racist, she went, "Oh, I think it's worse than that." Yes. And you kind of go, sorry, what do you mean by that? This is the woman who wants to talk about Islamophobia and bringing a law in. So what's she saying about that?
Well, actually, what Shabana Mahmood said in that interview with Michael Gove was that she's concerned that if anything that's created by this government, whether it be Islamophobia definition or anything else, if that infringes on free speech, then that's an issue, which is great because that's what we're concerned about at the Free Speech Union. So this Islamophobia definition that Angela Rayner took the lead with when she was Deputy Prime Minister is basically an attempt to, what the government says, to tackle is what they are calling Islamophobia, or what some other people might call anti-Muslim hatred. Now, the issue that we have is that we're concerned that it could have an awful impact on free speech. It was announced in a really sort of secretive way on the same day that Yvette Cooper announced the national inquiry into the grooming gangs. The consultation was opened. It was a very sort of ironic and eerie way of doing it. But not only that, the lack of transparency, that is the lack of transparency, the fact that it seemed to be happening under, you know, a bit covered up, it felt as though, but also the lack of the way that the consultation has been carried out originally was only open to a very select few groups, not open to free speech groups or people who were concerned about the impact this might have, and also the lack of objectivity. A lot of the people on this working group have previously supported the 2018 APPG definition of Islamophobia, which said that Islamophobia was rooted in racism, which is conflating a religion with race. It also said that to talk about the perpetrators of grooming gangs being predominantly Pakistani men was a form of Islamophobia. So it's concerning that lots of people on this working group were in favour, at least at the time, including Shabana Mahmood. She, at the time, supported the 2018 APPG definition.
Well, she's an interesting case in point, isn't she? Because we're discovering things about what she's done in the past which might not lead to you thinking that she's the right person for the job of Home Secretary. For example, what you've just mentioned, but also on an island somewhere, I think it was in Greece, welcoming migrants into Europe, you know, saying welcome, come in, you know, you can all come flooding in, doesn't matter if you're illegal or not. And the whole premise of the Islamophobia law is a nonsense, isn't it? Because it doesn't need to be put into place. There's plenty of protection for people in the general sphere of public discourse. If you want to say something about someone which is libelous, you're going to get sued for libel. If you want to say something that's going to upset them, you should be able to.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that the Home Secretary did say was that she's concerned that it may look like that one group is getting special protection. That's exactly what it looks like in my opinion, because there isn't any other religion that gets a special definition to protect the religion. It's Islamophobia. It's not anti-Muslim hatred, which we think would be a far better definition if you're going to call it anything. So yeah, it's a good sign. It is a good sign that the Home Secretary is talking about this. It shows that our campaign is definitely working. Since we've been putting pressure on the government to really look at this, the consultation deadline has been extended. The work has been opened, to more people. So anyone who wants to, they can respond to the consultation. The deadline for the working group's work to finish has been extended. Also, Steve Reid has come out and said that there is concerns about free speech on this. So it's not only, our campaign is not only working on the actual creation of this definition, but also cabinet ministers are now raising concerns too.
And is there a sense that since Angela Rayner's resignation, it's not being pushed quite so much, or is it sort of more in the long grass
potentially
now?
But I honestly think that it's due to our campaign, genuinely our campaigning, that has raised this issue.
No, I'm sure it is. The Free Speech Union have done some fantastic work lately on all manner of things, and there's always a case or two going on in the background that I'm sure you can tell us about. But I mean, it's just the whole idea of this Islamophobia law, which just the sense from my point of view is that it's being pushed by people with an agenda, that it's not really about, you know, fairness. It's not about, you know, looking after people who might be vulnerable. It's all about pushing an agenda to stop people and to make a sort of chilling message to people to say, don't talk about Muslims in a way which might be considered to be negative.
I completely sympathise with that perspective. It is concerning to see the way in which this government are suppressing free speech in all directions. And here we have Keir Starmer still saying that he's very proud of our free speech and will always protect it fiercely. So yes, I completely understand that perspective. And that's why no religion should be free of criticism. I mean, look at the case of Hamit Coskun, the man who burnt the Quran, who then had a man try and slash a knife at him. That man with the knife has now been spared jail.
He has.
But Hamit is now living in hiding, was fined 250 quid for his expression. You know, of course it was an offensive political process, but there's no point having free speech if you don't have the right to be offensive.
Of course.
Freedom of expression.
And the judge said at the time, didn't he, when he was examining the case, that, well, more or less you asked for it by being horrible. And it was like, well, sorry, that's not what free speech is about. And not only was the guy trying to slash him with a knife, he was kicking him, he was threatening him, he was saying, I'm going to kill you. And he's now got a suspended sentence. It makes no sense.
It was extraordinary reading the differences in sentencing remarks from Hamit's sentencing judge to the man who was slashing a knife at him. The judge saying to the man who had a knife, "Oh, you're a really great guy. You've never done anything like this in your life." Whereas Hamit, it was part of the evidence used to prove that he was causing alarm, harassment or distress, was the fact that a man tried to slash a knife at him. Hamit originally charged with harassing the institution of Islam. We already have de facto blasphemy laws in this country. We have a clear two-tier system. There is no other way. This case is a transparent case of that being the case, that there is a two-tier system in this country. It's not always to do with the judge. Our laws are ridiculous. You know, people charged of, convicted of sexual crimes getting shorter sentences than Lucy Connolly. I mean, it's just absolutely outrageous. So the last thing we need is a new definition of Islamophobia, which the government says is non-statutory, which is even more confusing, because what's the point of it? If it's non-statutory, then what's going to be the effect of it? Why do we need it at all? Yeah, well, that would be my point. We don't need it at all. I don't think so. Thank you very much indeed. Connie Shaw, good to see you. Great to see you as ever. External Affairs Editor, Officer, I should say, from Free Speech Union. Julie Hartley-Brewis here. Union? The Free Speech Union. You know, the thing we used to have, where you could say things and upset people, and that would be the end of it.
I think only the Prime Minister has that now. David Lammy.
Yeah, they can do it. That's okay.
Wow. Can I just say, wow.
Yes.
Even this morning.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Some of the interviews that Keir Starmer is doing. I mean, I didn't call Nigel Farage racist. No, I didn't call Reform voters racist. Just all the policies, everything they do, genuinely. I've never known a conference speech which is all about another party.
I've never seen anything like that speech in my entire career.
When I went down a storm in the conference hall, well, they were absolutely loving it. They just don't realise the entire... What is the only story... Look, maybe there's a bit of Andy Burnham, that's gone away. The only other story out party conference is Nigel Farage. You're 15 months in to a landslide election victory, and your only vision is, I'm not Nigel Farage. Yeah. What does that tell you?
Exactly. Unbelievable. It sounded a bit like a Nuremberg rally at one point. Sorry to bring that up.
Does everything have to be like... I think Nigel Farage should start getting the libel lawyers out.
Have you seen the story this morning? Zia Yusuf came on the show and said that they've cancelled 75% of his protection.
He has had to have security from
Parliament.
years.
But Parliament has cancelled it. That's an extraordinary thing to have happened.